I'm here at the overseas call centre of a large insurance company. With me is customer service team leader Mr. Bolte. Mr. Bolte, how easy is it to provide great insurance service to your customers?
Well, we're on another continent. You can never get through. We've no idea who you are, and we're only allowed to work from a script with the information on the screen in front of us. Frankly, you'd be better with High House.
High House Insurance, your local experts. High House Insurance don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. For a free, no-obligation quote, call Chelsea 606 552. High House, local, reliable insurance. High Street, Chelsea.
Yes, and welcome once again to Manhood Internet Radio, the station that cares. And we have a very full programme for you this week. So, without further ado, we're going to get on with What's On. And to start our look at what's on around the area for the coming week, we start with Monday the 30th. And at meeting at 6:30 p.m. at Hillfield Car Park, the Salesy Striders get together for their 3-mile run. So why not join them and lose a few pounds before all that Christmas food and drink. And just remember, guys, if I'm not there, just start without me. Now, on Tuesday the 1st, well, tickets go on sale today for the New Year's Eve party at the British Legion. And they got live music on from Limited S. Non-members are welcome, so that's going to be the place to be on New Year's Eve, I guess. So if you want to get some tickets, you better be quick. Get down there, get some tickets for that. On Wednesday the 2nd, well, if you fancy trying your hand at carpet bowls, you can go down to the school in School Lane, and you'll be most welcomed by Selsey Carpet Bowls Club. You don't need to take anything with you. You can try it out. If you've never played before, it's not a problem. They're a good, friendly bunch. Everything's supplied. You can try it for a couple of times. If you don't like it, well, you don't have to join. But I've got a feeling you might just want to become a member and play there regularly. Now, on Thursday the 3rd, it's a toddlers dance group from 9:30 until 10:30 at the Selsey Centre. And then a bit later on in the day, for those that are slightly older, you've got the over 50s table tennis, and that's between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And the Selsey Christmas Market starts today, and that's on for 3 days in the old pavilion with lots of goodies to buy from local stall holders. So, you know, support your local businesses and go and pop your head in and have a look round the old pavilion. On Friday the 4th, well, you got Seal Academy Christmas Fair from 3:15 to 5:15 with cakes, toys, raffle and Santa's Grotto. And there's also Medmurray School Christmas Fete from 3:30 until 5:15, also with toys, books, games, cakes and lots more. Now, on Friday night and Saturday night, we've got the Christmas Extravaganza at the Town Hall presented by Sakos, and I believe there's a matinee performance on the Saturday. And this is a magical mix of all sorts of entertainment, and it's only £7 an adult and £4 a child. Very seasonal and well worth a visit. On Saturday the 5th, we got the Christmas Tree Festival at the Methodist Church from 10 till 4, with trees being decorated by all different sorts of charities and organisations, and a prize for the best tree voted for by you. There's a £1 entrance fee for that, and there's refreshments, cake stalls, etc. Loads of stuff available. The Venture Club are also holding a jewellery and Christmas gift sale today. Now that'll be, I guess, around by the Co-op at the Venture Club headquarters place there. And at the Town Hall from 9:30 till 12 is a Christmas fair on behalf of Selsey Lifeboat Association. And there's also a Christmas fun day if you're a bit further out at Manor Nurseries, with Punch and Judy and dances, choirs, face painting and Father Christmas with his Huskies, and that's from 10 a.m. onwards. Now on Sunday the 6th, the Christmas Tree Festival continues today at the Methodist Church, and that's from 12 till 2. And on Monday the 7th, well, the Selsey Cinema Club are showing A Royal Night Out. This is starring Rupert Everett and Emma Watson, and it's loosely based on the legend of VE Day, when apparently the future Queen and Princess Margaret escaped the palace and celebrated with the people. Well, I've got a feeling Princess Margaret certainly would have done. I'm not sure about the Queen. Anyway, you can go along and have a look at that, and that's on Monday the 7th. And that's just a sample of some of the stuff that's going on in and around Selsey for the coming week. And we move across to Bracklesham and The Witterings now. Let's see what's going on over there.
And the what's on for this week? Not a great deal going on. On the 12th of December at Bracklesham Barn, there's a jazz and jingle night. And that is ticket only, so you need to buy your tickets from the parish council office. Do go along to that. And then on Boxing Day, for those people that might be a little bit lonely or not have very much going on, the United Reformed Church are having a festive lunch and fun. If you wanted to go along to that, it's between 12 and 2:30. You need to contact Sherry Sloan on 01243 672 948.
And moving up to Appledram, well, the Appledram Centre has its winter fair on Sunday the 6th of December from 11 o'clock till 3 o'clock. Now, I don't know what you know about the Appledram Centre, but basically it's a centre where adults with learning difficulties receive training to live a more independent life. So it's an absolutely brilliant cause, and you really should get along there, give them your support. There's lots of stuff going on. There's all manner of stalls and activities. There's the Santa's Grotto, the Treasure Island, there's handbags, not quite sure what that is, and more. There's a tombola, there's raffle, the ukulele band will be there, singer Bobby Barnes will be there, hot dogs for sale. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So get yourself along to the Appledram Centre, and if you're not sure where it is, well, you can look it up on the internet, because that's probably easiest, and that's www.appledram, that's APULDRAM.org. So you can get yourself along there and give them your support. And another local charity that's quite desperate for help at the moment is Brent Lodge Wildlife Centre. Now, as you may or may not know, Brent Lodge look after all manner of wildlife, but they have an awful lot of hedgehogs down there, and hedgehogs unfortunately seem to be disappearing from our countryside nowadays. And they could do with newspapers and also tinned meat flavoured dog or cat food, because the old hedgehogs like that, and or the young hedgehogs as well like that, and they get through an awful lot. I mean, they're getting through about 50 tins a week or thereabouts. That's an awful lot. So if you could assist with that, if you've got any spare tins of cat or dog food that you don't want, or you've got some newspapers, or if you could save up newspapers, they're desperate for newspapers. If you could do that and take it along to the Brent Lodge Wildlife Centre, they would be most appreciative. And if you'd like more information about Brent Lodge, well, you can go on the website, and that's www.brentlodge.org. Nice and simple. And that's about it for this week's roundup of what's on in and around the area. If you've got an event coming up that you'd like us to publicise, then please contact us at manhoodinternetradio@gmail.com or studio.salesinternetradio@gmail.com, or you can text us or phone us on 07551 93019. Now, my producer said this week, Keith, I think we need to get out on the road a bit more. We need to go and interview people in their surroundings rather than bringing them into the studio and terrifying them. And the first place he takes me to is the kind of place that would normally terrify me anyway. It's a type of gymnasium. It's a lazy gym. That's the only way I can describe it. And I came here to talk to Trudy and Peter Hynes about their new venture. Good morning, Peter. Morning, Trudy.
Morning.
Now, I've had a quick look round before we started, and I'm amazed by the machinery because it does it itself from what I see. So you can actually sit there and be manipulated by any one of these very comfortable pieces of apparatus. And if you feel like you want to work it, you can. And if not, it will work you. Is that a fair sort of description of what happens?
It is actually, yes. It's the Shapemaster range of equipment. Shapemaster have been around for 35 years. Best known perhaps for the old toning tables that from bygone days. They still make them mainly for the American market, but gradually they've evolved into this latest system, and this is the very latest. We're the first customer to actually have this, and it's motorised equipment arranged around a circuit. 3 minutes per machine, 30 minutes in total, finishing with a lovely sonic massage. which is very, very popular. But the beauty of this is it literally is infinitesimal, the resistance that you can put into it. So you could literally have somebody very frail, limited mobility, obviously you could put that on a slow program, and it will give them absolute full mobility, arms, legs, everything. But of course our trainers will consult with you to work out the best exercise program for you. Then on the other hand, you can get up to bodybuilders, really big guys that could equally use it. Well, we haven't got any bodybuilders, we're not that type of establishment, but we've got some very, very fit people, and they've been absolutely amazed because they looked at it, like yourself, rather sceptically and said, oh, this doesn't do anything, you know. But when it's explained to them that no, they put in how much effort or not they want to use, and by the time they're finished, they've actually worked a sweat up. It's dependent on themselves. So it really is a machine for everybody.
Well, I did notice when I sat on one of the contraptions earlier on, and we were gracious enough to turn it on for me, but I quite expected just to sit there and do nothing at all. And you can't sit there and do nothing at all, because the machine, although it does it for you, it's still working the muscles, it still requires some effort from you. Yes. And you can, if you like, you can time it so that you could do one yourself and let the machine do one for you.
Absolutely.
And so you don't end up in a heap on the floor or having worked yourself to death.
You called it a lazy gym. We call it an easy gym.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would go along with that.
Yeah.
It is an easy gym. It's a very easy gym. But my first thoughts were, well, what's the point of having doing exercise on a machine that does it for you? Well, I found out the point, because although the machine does actually work you, there is benefit just in that alone. If you just sat there and did very little at all, the movement of the machines, rotating your top half or lifting your legs up and down or whatever, would actually work your muscles and thereby give you greater mobility.
Once you've completed the full circuit, it will have worked all your skeleton and your muscle groups. Now that's downstairs, the Shape Master range. But upstairs we have a whole range of life fitness cardio equipment, and we've got everything's in pairs so that you can do it with a buddy or with a personal trainer perhaps. We have 2 cross trainers, 2 treadmills, 2 steppers, 2 rowers, 2 upright recumbent bikes, and 2 standard bikes. Now the whole idea of that is that that's cardio, which is, most people will recognise the equipment. And interestingly enough, we've had some couples come along, and the chap has said, yes, no, this is what I want to do. I'll leave the mobile stuff downstairs for the wife. Okay, and then when they've tried it, and there's one particular couple I'm thinking of, they're very, very fit. He is, certainly. And yet when he tried the Shape Master equipment, he said, I take that back. He said, my God, this really does work you out. So he said, I've got everything here. I've got cardio and I've got my core training. And this is the whole point. We offer a complete fitness service, if you like, but in a completely different environment than you know, we're not a gym as such. We don't like that term. It smacks of tattoos and banging weights, etc. We're well removed from that.
I think the name Feelgood Factory actually is most appropriate. Because I came in and I felt quite good. Because when I go into a gym normally, well, I don't normally go into a gym, as you can see, but if, you know, were I to stumble across this sort of establishment, I'd be going in full of fear and trepidation.
Yeah.
And when I came in here, I thought, this is wonderful.
No fear here at all. And in fact, our members that we've got, that's what they like about the Feelgood Factory. They don't feel intimidated. They know that when they walk through that door, we know their name, we make them feel comfortable, we chat about their kids and their this and that. So it's more of a club atmosphere rather than a gym.
And the first thing that occurs to me is it could be of such benefit post-op to people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I can think of a number of situations where, having just come out of hospital, perhaps having knees done or something like that, hips especially, where to get the machine to assist you, shall we say,
Yes.
because you need to do some of it
It's
yourself.
just getting your movability back after an operation.
Absolutely.
Whereas probably the NHS hasn't got the
resources.
resources now.
You get 3 weeks physio, which is
Yeah.
okay, but you need much longer than that. And
Well,
of
I've
course-
had a half knee replaced myself some years ago,
Well,
yeah.
and that was under Bupa. I hate to think, what situation I'd be in if I had to go and have it done now on NHS, because
You just wouldn't get
the
it.
physio went on for much longer than 3 weeks, and now you can't, as you say, you're told what to do and then packed off, and
That's right.
and if you don't do it, well, it's your fault.
Yeah.
But there's been an interesting development actually with Southampton Hospital, and for people going in to actually have major surgery, to get pre-fit for the surgery, and their recovery times have been greatly reduced. Because, actually my son's an anaesthetist, so I do know about this, and the biggest problem is that they will not operate if you're overweight or chronically unwell, some type of thing, because of problems with the anaesthetics. So they've actually discovered that if you can have some exercise prior to the op, it will greatly assist the operation and of course your recovery time. So that's another advantage that we can offer, because as my wife said, you're not entering into your typical intimidating screaming abs gym, as I call them. We're not like that at all, and special needs like that we will assess with you and work with you, because all of this equipment, it is actually medically approved, because Shapemaster work very closely with I think it's Nottingham University, to develop the various types of equipment and how it can be best used. And indeed, you do find some of this equipment in physiotherapy establishments, but we've got the whole range here. So
I was just thinking, it reminds me of a very posh Bupa recovery unit.
Yes.
It's got that feel about it,
Yes.
where you're not pressured, but you need to be doing something.
You do.
And
Well, I think it's a true saying, isn't it? Use it or lose it.
well, absolutely that. Yes. Now, is this the only Feelgood Factory, or are there others?
There are other Feelgood factories. They're not franchises. They are owned independently by independent people. Most of them are in Yorkshire area. There's only a couple down here south of England, and they are mostly in leisure centres. We've branched out. We wanted our own little studio. We didn't want to go into a leisure centre at all. And we also want to do a few others in the south of England ourselves, still under the auspices of Feelgood Factory, because we like the name. I think it encompasses everything we do. So this is our first one. We'll probably give it 6 months, see how it goes, and then start looking for other locations.
I must admit, but the first time I heard Feelgood Factory, somebody said, "Oh, have you seen that Feelgood Factory down by the..." So I thought it was a drugs den. the Feelgood Factory.
Because the other sort of way we've gone away from their traditional model is that they were traditionally for ladies only. Well, what about those old chaps?
Well, the ladies don't like us to get too fit, and otherwise they've got nothing to complain about.
Well, funny enough, actually, we did broach this, and we said, right, well, we will, if there's needs, we will have a ladies only session. But when we mentioned this to our existing members, they've laughed at me and said, no, it's not. We're not like that. So we're opening it up, and as my wife said, it's more of a club atmosphere. And to just exclude men is it's rather silly, really, and short-sighted, I think. Actually.
Yes, especially in this day and age.
It's a bit
I think we've got
We have to allow ladies into the golf club. Why should we?
Absolutely. Enough said.
That's another argument. We won't get into that one. Now, how long have we been open?
Well, we opened the door the 1st of November. So we're still very, very much soft opening, because as you can see, we're still waiting to put the cameras in and various other little bits and pieces. We're really aiming up to get ourselves established and the name out there so everybody knows we're here, because obviously come January everybody wants to get fit. But what we're trying to do is to say no, commit before January, so that then you can enjoy yourself over the festive period, knowing that, right, I will get into shape come the new year, not I'll put it off. And that's how we're doing it, a soft opening rather than a razzmatazz and all of the other paraphernalia that goes with it, because we're not a traditional gym in any form. So we're doing soft opening to sort of get feedback. For instance, we've added some extra services. My wife will tell you that.
We've now got a hairdresser that comes in on a Monday and Thursday, and we've also got a beauty therapist for nails, facials, etc. And she's here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So you literally come in, go out feeling good.
Well, it seems to me that the guys in Chelsea could be some of the best looking, best coiffed people in the area.
They certainly could. Yeah. So we've only just started that from this week actually, and it looks as though it's going to be very popular, because especially some of the ladies. One came in this morning actually, and she had her workout and she saw, I think I'll go and have a wash and blow dry. So up she went upstairs, had her wash and blow dry, and went out feeling good.
Great. Well, of course, for ladies, I mean that would be the pinnacle of it, wouldn't it? To have your hair done after workout and have your hair done and walk out of that door and say, why aren't people looking at me? I mean, they might mistake me for somebody famous.
She may do.
And once again, all part of the Feelgood.
Yeah,
so yes,
absolutely.
The name, it seems to go on even further and even deeper than just a gymnasium, which is, I'm sure a lot of people. Well, a lot of people don't know it's here at the moment. That I do know, because I've spoken to people today, and they see Feelgood Factory and they're not quite sure what it is. But they know it's not a drugs den like I thought, because it wouldn't be advertised. But that aside, now is membership going well at the moment? Or?
Yes, we're doing quite well at the moment actually. Mostly word of mouth. People come in and they're wowed by it really. Like yourself, when you walked in, didn't quite know what to expect.
I didn't expect this, I'm going to be honest.
And people are really excited about it. And therefore they tell their friends, their neighbours, their families, and they've been coming in and joining as couples, which we've got a good deal for. Some people have just joined on their own. And also we're getting quite a cross-section of ages. We've got somebody 16, we don't take any younger than 16.
No, that's right.
Up to, I think, 81 at the moment.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Obviously, but youngsters of all ages.
Youngsters of all ages, so it really is a cross-section. So, no, we're very pleased how the membership's going. And everyone has said, oh, thank goodness, at last something's for Selsey.
It is, because a lot of people, there is, of course, a gym down at the Oasis.
Yes.
But a lot of people, it's a big travel for a lot of people to go down there.
That was the
and it's a gym.
It's a traditional gym.
It's not,
gym.
It's not the kind of place.
I mean, we don't have any weights here at all. But well, A, we don't have the room, and B, we don't want heavy weights in. No. So, we keep saying, it is not your conventional gym.
Well, it's certainly not that. I can vouch.
No.
I was amazed when I walked in and saw the equipment.
Good.
And had a look round it and had a little go on some of it. I was seriously amazed, because I can see where people in their 80s could comfortably come down and use it.
Oh, absolutely, no question.
And get their mobility back. There's nothing worse, in my book anyway, than walking for the sake of walking. And as much as I love walking along the sea wall, I don't consider it exercise, because I like to stroll along there and take my time and savour that lovely stroll along the sea wall. If you want to come and get fit without too much effort, and by fit I mean, if you want parts of your body to work,
and it is only half an hour.
Yeah, Yeah.
You don't need to do any more than half an hour.
Do you get people
2
that
or
want to
3
go
times
round
a week.
want to go round again? Or?
Yes, we do
Yes,
actually.
there's no restriction, and you can
Yeah.
come in here every day. In fact, some of the ladies do come in here
Well,
every day because we
good
offer
on 'em.
complimentary tea and coffee. They sit down and have a chat.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
what it's
a
about.
disease in Selby, complimentary tea and coffee.
Yeah.
We used to have a competition to see where you could get the most cups of tea. In a day.
Oh, well,
But,
Feelgood Factory now is number 1.
that's on the list. That
Yeah.
certainly is getting up there. I mean, I would urge people to just come and have a look.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in any doubt of what it's about, come in and have a
We
look.
are actually giving a 7-day free trial.
That's
No obligation
an
to
absolute
join or
bonus.
anything. So
Try
it's
before you
7 day.
buy.
Yeah, try before you buy. You can come in as many times in those 7 days, and after the 7 days, if you feel you want to join, and you can join.
Well, that's excellent because it's getting fit is not everybody's cup of tea,
No.
but getting mobile
Is
means a lot to a lot of people, and just to come down here and test it and see if it's
Yes.
what you want, and
Exactly.
Come and
because
try.
nothing worse than paying out loads of money to join a gym,
No.
only to find out that you can't use half the equipment, and it's not really what you want,
No.
and so you've wasted your money. To come in and be able to try it for a week, because it's all right coming in and trying it for a day.
you need
Because
to
the
try
next
a
day
week.
you don't, you're not sure how it's affected you. If you come in and try it for a week, then you've got some idea at the end of that week what your body can take,
Yeah.
and whether you're still alive from the neck down or whatever.
And the other thing is we don't, like the traditional gyms, have these stupid lock-in contracts that you're stuck with forever and a day and a year. No, we don't work that way at all. We just have a very simple membership. You come, you try it out, and then we're charging £35 per month per person, or £30 each for a couple or a corporate. We're not offering special 50% off this week and 10%, because that will alienate all members. So we're keeping it open and transparent all the way through.
So many places do that. Don't
They
and,
do,
and
yeah.
if I was a member, I'd be seriously upset to think that
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd paid the full amount to join,
Yeah.
and then somebody comes along and gets it at half the price
Yeah.
because there's a special promotion on. But it does happen. It happens quite often.
And unfortunately, it's the industry. And as I was talking to you earlier, this is not our ambition to open this and make a fortune out of it, because you certainly won't. No illusions. But we're opening this as our model. It's our flagship. We want to get it right. We want to charge sensible figures so it's open to everybody, and then we want to replicate it. Not franchising, we want to retain control of them, and that's what Trudy said earlier on. Next year then we're looking for another location, and we intend to have probably half a dozen over the next few years, but keeping this fundamental emphasis on the customer, because at the end of the day, any business is down, we were saying earlier, customers, the owners. You're nobody. You have to look after that customer and give them as good a service as you possibly can. Okay, you can't always please all of the people all of the time, but as long as you please most of the people most of the time, you're on a winner. And I like to sleep at night.
Have a go on this machinery. You'll sleep all right. Now, talking about membership, what does it cost to become a member?
It costs £35 a month. What we do, the only sort of membership, if you like, is we like people to commit for at least 3 months.
Yep.
After 3 months, if you don't feel that it's for you, then you can leave. But it's on an ongoing direct debit, £35 a month. If you join as a couple, it's £30 each month. The only other option is people like some of the older generations that don't like direct debits. So we're doing, if you want to join for 12 months, we only ask you to pay for 10. So that's, instead of £4.20, it's £3.50, and that's on your card or whatever, and then you're a member for 12 months.
Okay, brilliant. How about just turning up? People, can they just turn up and use the facilities?
We like to discourage that. We really like to be a members only studio.
If I was a member here, I'd have to say I would like it to be only members.
Yes, well,
as
it is.
you know.
It is members only. So no, there are really no pay as you go.
Okay.
If somebody turns up, we'd like to show them around and say, please, have a look and have a play with it. And then if you like it, right, do the 7-day trial, or we can sign you up now, but not pay as you go.
No.
Again, it's connotations of the bang, wallop, screaming, dab gyms.
Yeah.
Which we like.
Peter's got this thing about screaming
Yeah.
dab gyms.
The
Give me the screaming
Yeah.
the proper gyms.
At the moment, it's usually £35 joining fee, which obviously would include your induction, a health check, etc., etc. Because we do take your blood pressure, if that sort of thing.
Mine's up.
So at the moment, we're not charging that, so that's another saving of £35.
Okay, well that's great.
It's a health MOT actually, because it as much or as little as you want. Not everybody wants all the BMI and everything else, but if they want the full screening, we will happily provide it, and you've got a record, and we will monitor that at regular intervals. Again, if you want. It's not intrusive. No, because some people may not want it. Others, oh yes, I want to track my progress.
Yes, I mean, people do like to know if they're making progress, don't they? I mean, if you're working hard and you think, well, I don't know if I've done anything, or if I've lost any weight, or if I've built any muscle.
Well, with our system, you can actually see it. There you are. That's what you started, and that's what you've got now.
That's great stuff.
Indeed, we're doing a promotion that we've just agreed to with Spirit FM. I don't know if it's a competitor, but it's different.
No,
and they will be running a competition. Looking for a gentleman and a lady, and they're actually going to, whoever wins, we're going to chart their progress. So they'll be measured and weighed and all the other stuff at the beginning, and after 3 months the results will be there for everybody to see. That if you listen to Spirit FM, all the details will be coming very soon on that.
Okay. So after 3 months, I'll be taking your pulse. See if you're still with us. Now, if people want to contact you, how can they do that?
Yep, they can contact us on our website, which is www.feelgoodsalesy.com. All the information is on there. Our telephone number is 01243 605 418. Or just pop in anytime. We're open. Staffed hours are open from 8 in the morning until 7 in the evening, Monday to Friday. On Saturday we're open from 9 o'clock in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, and Sundays are token opening hours from 10 till 12. So we'll be very happy for anybody to come in and have a little look round.
Okay. Now, if you were a member, is that the hours that you can come in if you're a member?
I think Peter's.
No, actually, again, we're offering a rather unique service for the members only, that have obviously been fully inducted, and those that want to, they will have access to the facility, because it's all automated. I haven't shown you all that, but there's a lot of gadgetry here actually, and they will be able to access it from 5 a.m. in the morning until 10 p.m. 7 days a week, because we do have some members that work in London or irregular hours, and to actually staff the premises for all of that period would cost a fortune, and there's no way we could do it at our fees. So we've got a fully automated, and for total security we use a fingerprint with a PIN number. And what happens, that's why there's monitored security cameras and a whole host of other safety devices that this brings in for those members that want it. Because when we mentioned it, we couldn't believe the response. It was very, very popular.
Well, you've only got to see the road in the mornings coming back into Selsey at around 6 o'clock.
Yes.
There are obviously a lot of people in Selsey that work shift work somewhere.
Yes.
That's right.
And you know, having worked shift work myself for many years, 6 o'clock in the morning is the same as 6 o'clock in the evening.
It is,
and you know, if you were finishing work at 6 o'clock in the evening and you wanted to go to the gym, you'd be annoyed if you couldn't. So to be able to get in at that time of the day really is a bonus.
Yes.
Because if you have been working night shift and you come off a night, you don't really want to go home then come out again.
No.
But if you can call in at the gym on the way home, and I'm sorry about the gym, but if you can call into the Feelgood Factory on the way home, or the club, and just have your little workout before you go home and go to bed, that's probably as good for you as anything you're going to get.
And another popular time, which again would be uneconomic to provide staff all the way, would be Sunday afternoon evenings. People, you know, for whatever reason, fancy a little workout then. Well, you imagine trying to staff a facility.
Oh yes, yes.
It's the costs. So again, we're trying to minimise the cost to provide the maximum benefit for the club members, and it's a success. We know what we're doing.
Well, it certainly seems that way to me. So there you go. If you'd like to contact Peter or Trudy or Peter, because they argue about who goes first, you can do so, and you can look at the website, which is www.feelgoodsalesy.com, or you can phone them on the phone number that Trudy gave you earlier, or you can just pop your head in the door and have a look into it. And I would recommend that you probably do that, because it's a bit of a surprise. Well, thank you very much, both.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
Thanks for showing us round and keeping me safe and not frightening my compatriot John here too much with all this equipment. And I'm sure we'll see you again in the future.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Well, I apologise for the sound quality in the first few minutes of that interview, but I did find out one thing. I can't operate their equipment and a microphone at the same time, so multitasking not down to me. I have to say, if you're 80 and achy, or if like me you're a flabby old fossil, or even if you're 16 and got less fat than a greasy chip, this really is a place to go and have a look at. And we go across to the Witterings now, where Mel from Local Life talks to her guest.
And now I'd like to welcome along John Sambrook. He's from Astons Estate Agents, who are one of the estate agents down here in East Wittering Village. Hello there, John.
Good morning to you.
I'd just like to say, if you could, a little bit about the history of Astons and what it is that they do, please.
Okay. Astons actually have two branches, one in East Wittering, as you said, and the other in Selsey High Street. We are an estate agency and a letting agency. Together, all the people working in the office put them together, and we have over 50 years combined experience in the property market. And as we are a family-owned independent agency, we can always tailor-make our services to suit individual clients' needs. And I think that's one of our strong points. And we do actually cover, really, with the Selsey office and the Witterings office, we feel we cover the entire Peninsula geographical area.
What's the property market like at the moment, with it coming up to Christmas and it being colder and darker? Does that affect you in any way?
Yes, of course it does. Many people will put off the idea of selling and buying houses until after Christmas. But I think generally, as is reported elsewhere in the press, it's a very challenging market at the moment. And by that I mean that it's been reported that the number of available houses for sale in the country as a whole, and in particular in the southeast where we are, is in very short supply at the moment. And there are a number of reasons why this may be. It's not just simply the time of year. We've had a very good year in both sales and lettings, but certainly since the autumn things have slowed down in terms of new property coming on the market, and also the numbers of people looking to buy as well. So I'm sure, in common with many other estate agencies, we are now looking to the January, February period as being the time to reinvigorate our efforts in the marketplace.
That's fantastic. Do you have any special deals or anything to try and lure people in to use you?
Well, we wouldn't use the word lure, of course, because we're not really that predatory. But certainly in Selsey, and just to give you a bit of background, Selsey is probably better known in the local market for Astons being a letting agency. And the reason for that is that when we opened in Selsey, we did so by buying an existing portfolio of properties that were being rented out. And so I think that sort of established us as a rental agent or a letting agent. But of course we do sell properties there as well, and have done and will continue to do so. And really, to emphasise that, we did bring in a scheme, if you like, or an incentive to vendors, whereby we dramatically reduced our commission rate from the sort of norm of 1 or 1.25% to just 0.25%, 0.25% for new instructions for a limited time. Plus, we gave them what we call an Astons guarantee, that if we failed to find a ready, willing and able buyer within 90 days of their instruction to us, we would actually waive that fee as well. So hypothetically, you could sell your property for nothing at all, and we'd be very happy to do that. And that actually has seen a tremendous uptake in inquiries and new instructions in Selsey. And just for the record, the very first property that benefited from that scheme had been on the market with another agent. I won't name names because that's not fair, but that other agent had been trying to sell this 2-bedroom property for nearly 2 years unsuccessfully. We sold it at the full asking price, and it completed within 56 days or 8 weeks from the time we were instructed to the time the new purchaser completed on the property. So we think that was the proof was in the pudding, basically. There.
That's fantastic. Well done. You have to be really pleased, especially with it being the first one.
Yeah, excellent. It was really very good news. Yeah.
Fabulous. Over here in the Witterings, are there many properties that are for sale at all at the moment? Or?
No, I mean we are a member of Rightmove and on the market, as well as running our own website, as indeed the other agents in the village are. And I think when we look at the statistics on Rightmove, it's fairly evident that all of us are suffering from a short instruction, if you like, a limited number of instructions. And the other thing as well, the two things that happen, is that because of such strong demand, or has been historically in the last few months, is that the moment a property comes on the market at the right price, it sells within 48 hours generally.
Wow.
And quite often we found that we have ready and willing buyers before we've even printed the sales literature, who want to reserve the property and have it taken off the market because they're so keen to buy. And that's not just our experience. To be fair to our competitors in the village, I mean Bailey's and Henry Adams and Hawkins and Smith, they had the similar experience as well. So it's just an indicator really that there is not enough property on the market at the moment to have a more balanced sales market. It's very one-sided at the moment.
That's because it's such a lovely place to live, you see.
Absolutely,
everybody wants to come down here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you find that during the summer, when we have a lot of visitors and holiday makers, that they are coming in and talking about moving here?
What we find with, not just with the holiday makers, a lot of people making contact with us will say that I used to come here with my parents as a child back in the 60s and 70s, staying at one of the many holiday parks in the area, and now I'm going to retire and I want to retire to the Witterings or perhaps Selsey or wherever nearby, and that's a very common theme, if you like. During the holiday season, yes, we do get a number of people, but of course some of those are aspiring to move but really haven't gone through thinking it through properly, and it's not going to happen in the short term but maybe in a few years' time.
That's wonderful. So all you people there that are thinking of selling your house in the new year, why don't you think about doing it now in the build up to Christmas? There's a shortage of property out there, and if I'm right, that means you might get a better price for it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a great time to sell. And of course, as an estate agent, I'm going to say that, aren't I? But it is truly a great time to sell. With such a short number or low number of properties on the market, it does mean you'll get maximum value if you decide to put it on the market now.
Fantastic. And John, could you just remind everybody where you are, how they can get hold of you if they need to?
Yes, of course. Our office in East Wittering is on the corner of New Parade and Shore Road. You can't miss it, immediately opposite Tesco. If you want to speak to us either about selling a property, buying a property or letting a property or renting a property, give us a call on 01243 670 765.
That's fantastic. Thank you, John. And I know as well the Local Business Alliance are very grateful to Astons because they have sponsored all of the events that they'll be holding. So the big Christmas festival that's happening, that wouldn't be going ahead if it hadn't been for Astons estate agents. Thank you very much for your time, John.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Now, just at this point, I'd like to say a great big up to the people of Selsey that turned out last night, despite atrocious weather, for the light switching on. Now, I did hear some complaints and a bit of moaning here and there, but you hear that most years. But I would just like to say, when other places were cancelling theirs, the people of Selsey that are made of sterner stuff, obviously, were there in their hundreds, or maybe even thousands, supporting the light switch on. So well done to all of you. Now, we've got a few jobs to do in the garden for December. Not that anybody likes to be in the garden. I certainly don't. I'd rather be indoors looking out. But if you're a keen gardener, and I doff my cap to you, and there's a few little jobs to be getting on with for December. Now, if you've got things like yuccas or standard bay trees, and there are quite a few yuccas about in Selsey, you need to wrap those, the trunks of the yuccas certainly, with some horticultural fleece, and that protects them from the icy winds that we get. And that also applies to bay trees. You need to wrap the canopy with horticultural fleece to give them a bit of protection. Now's a good time to apply organic matter to borders, so well-rotted manure or garden compost, that's ideal. If you're going to use recycled green waste, well, that can be alkaline, so you need to test that for pH and use a bit less if necessary. And when planting, now really this is at a different time of year, in readiness for this time of year, but when planting plants for this time of year, incorporate a few berrying species such as sorbus or berberis or pyracantha, and that gives the wildlife a bit of a chance to eat during the winter period. And it's a good time now to prune freestanding apple and pear trees and things like currant and gooseberry bushes. Give them a trim back as well. Roses, well, my wife puts the fear of God into me when she prunes roses, because she nearly prunes them back to the floor, but they seem to grow back every year, so I can't say that it's the wrong thing to do. But you can renovate overgrown roses by cutting out about a third of the old growth, and this will encourage fresh stems. Now, of course, it's a good time to order seeds for the new season by choosing from the latest catalogues. There's loads of catalogues out now, and of course this time of year there's a lot of houseplants about. Azaleas, they need a cool spot. Cyclamen, potted hyacinths, you see a lot of them about now in the shops for people to put in their conservatories or in their houses at Christmas. And of course poinsettias, well, there's an awful lot of those about at Christmas time. But if you're going to buy poinsettias, buy them from where they've been kept indoors. Not where they've been kept sort of out under a canopy at the garden centre or something. Buy the ones that have been kept indoors. And they need to be grown in a warm, light place away from drafts. Now, a lot of people think they want a warm, light place, so stick them on the windowsill. Not necessarily a good idea, because quite often you get cold coming off the windowsill, and that doesn't do them any good. And that's about it for the gardening tips for December. I don't want to give you too much to do, because I'm sure there are other things that are coming up. And we'll be back with some more gardening tips in the new year. Our next little jaunt on today's visit out of the studio and around and about to see people, I'm down at Pagham Harbour Nature Reserve, where I'm talking to Roy Newnham. And Roy's a visitor experience officer, and he's going to be telling us what we can expect to find if we come and visit down at Pagham Harbour Nature Reserve. Roy, good morning.
Morning. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
Now, I guess I'm one of probably many people that have driven past Pagham Harbour Nature Reserve probably 8 or 10 times a week for the past 9 years and never been in. And now I was under the impression that it was perhaps all bird watching, and that's purely and simply because we've got the viewing place up there, and there's always people out there with binoculars and great big scope things, and they're looking for some bird that's flown 1,000 miles to get here, to stay for 10 minutes to go again. And that's the sort of impression I get from this place. But of course that's not true, is it? There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot more to that. I work for the RSPB, and we've only been here 2 to 3 years now. But in that short time, we've done quite a bit of work here in Pagham Harbour and over on Medmerry. And it's not all about birds. There's plants. We've got a very rare plant here amongst a number of other rarities on the reserves. We've got reptiles, we've got butterflies, we've got rare insects, as well as all the birds, and of course we've got mammals in there as well. So it's a real mixed habitat and biodiversity. If I could even say the word, biodiversity.
I was thinking, what's he trying to say? I couldn't say it. Now, it's been expanded now, I believe, because I was under the impression that it was just this bit that went down to the beach that way and up to the farm the other way. But of course now you've taken on the Medmary area as well.
Medmary coastal realignment scheme, yes, which has proved a fantastic success. You probably may be aware that the original idea came to protection, flood defence protection for the villages and the hamlets around that area, and we gained a new reserve out of it at the same time. There was some big storms last year, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do, and was a fantastic result. So everyone comes out a winner on that one. Nature and people, which is fantastic.
It is, yes, indeed. I mean, a lot of people were sceptical when it was first happening, and you know, is it going to flood the whole area, and this sort of thing. So last year's storms actually proved it to be quite safe.
It did, and the wildlife over there. I mean, it is new at the moment. It's only, as I say, really been open 2 years. And in the first year, we had black-winged stilts that bred over there, which is a particular coup for this reserve, but also it's very rare in the country to have black-winged stilts breeding anyway. So that was really great for us in our first year. This year, unfortunately, they didn't come back to breed. They did come into the reserve and spent a little time on the reserve. We think maybe juveniles from last year, and hopefully they'll come back again next year. But over there we had Avicettes breeding, we've had the reptiles that have been breeding over there. The channels, because it's still new, they're still forming every time the sea comes in and goes out, so the habitat's still forming over there, and the wildlife is adjusting to that. We've got a lot of winter birds coming in now, which are starting to use it. When I went over in the springtime, lots of cuckoos flying around, yellowhammers, corn buntings, farmland birds that are struggling in a lot of our areas. So that's really good. And also you may have heard about our Shark Fest over on Medmary, which is
yes,
quite
indeed.
exciting.
Indeed, I did. Yes, that did cause some excitement locally. Now, how many visitors do you get during the course of the year? Have you any idea on that? I mean,
thousands.
It's very difficult because you've only been here 3 years.
Yeah.
The place has been here a lot longer, but the RSPB have only taken it over.
It is in thousands. The problem that we have is because it's an open reserve, that means you can enter from a number of vantage points, which makes it a little difficult to specify exactly the numbers coming through the door. So you can come in from the Pagham Harbour side, from Pagham Village side, you can come in from the North Wall side, you can come in from Selsey walking along the beach, you can come in through Church Norton, you can come in through the visitor centre.
Yeah, so measuring it would be very difficult.
It's quite difficult to pin those numbers. However, we do know it's in the thousands. So we get good numbers of visitors coming through. And they come from all different walks of life.
And you get a lot of organised visits, you get schools and that sort of thing?
We do a lot of schools, and we're actually revamping our schools programme at the moment. We had a meeting this morning, funnily enough, talking about just that, and looking at not just the younger ages, but also secondary and A-level courses that we can offer to local schools. So that would be great for them to be getting in touch if they're interested in working with us, and we'll be promoting that accordingly as well.
Now, there's an awful lot goes on down here, certainly stuff that I didn't know was going on, but I noticed that we've got in the cafeteria there, you can pick up paperwork that tells you what's on, and on Sunday the 6th of December you've got Medmary with the Warden, and you can explore the wild open landscapes of Medmary, and that's not Pagham Harbour bit, that's Medmary, with the Warden, and learn about the wildlife that are wintering there, and that's something I didn't know that went on, and we'll give some details on that at the end of the interview. But you've also got Wild Families Christmas Arts and Crafts in December, Wildfowl and Waders with the Warden, so you're keeping quite busy. Now, how many people have you got working here? Because I sort of always envisaged that this was a tea shack, and one person perhaps making and selling tea and cakes, and perhaps somebody else that could give you a bit of information about it. And how wrong was I?
Yeah, we're actually a team here of full-time staff and a seasonal member of staff as well. And then we're made up of a small army of volunteers. We have up to 80 volunteers that work with us.
Really?
And without them, we'd struggle to actually.
And what sort of things? What sort of things do they do?
Well, everything. You may have met a couple of guys in the visitor centre, so they would be welcoming people to the reserve, showing them around the reserve, so they can tell them where to walk, how long for, find out what it is that they're looking for, whether it's birds or just a pleasant walk, and where to go and how long they can walk for. We've got other people that go out with the warden on work parties. So, for example, this week they've been cutting down the reed beds in parts of the reserve, so that can rejuvenate for next year and flourish. They'll be putting up fences maybe for cattle to graze, so that we can get the orchids to come through again next year. So that kind of work they'll be working with the wardens. We've got people that do the admin side with us as well. We've got people that do surveys, so they may do some of the survey work with the wardens as well. So there's lots of different roles that can actually be done as a volunteer. And the nice thing is volunteering, you tell us how many hours you want to put in. Even if it's just 1 hour, it's fantastic. And you can get in touch with us to do that. And it's a lovely place to work. And
you're looking for volunteers as we speak?
Well, we're always looking for, it's ongoing, yeah. We're always looking for volunteers, more the merrier. And yeah, they're fantastic people to work with.
Good. So if people wanted to volunteer, who do they contact?
They can contact myself or any other members of the staff. So the number to call, whether it be for volunteering or any other information or events or anything, there's a landline number which is 01243 641 508. And you can call me on my mobile number, that's 07703 885 322, and I have an email address you're more than welcome to use as well, which is roy.newnham, so that's NEWNHAM @rspb.org.uk.
Well, that's brilliant. Now, leading on to what's about at this time of the year, so what could people, if they're visiting now, because most people think that winter's a dead time and there's not really any point in going to somewhere like this during the winter, but of course that's not going to be true, is it?
No, it's not actually. I'm a bit biased because I obviously work here, but it is a fantastic place to work, both the reserves, and they're quite different. Pagham Harbour has lots of pathways with hedge lines and meadows and things like that, whereas over on Medmerry the paths are much more open, big wide open landscapes, much more wild sort of feel to it. And yeah, throughout the year it's always changing. So in the springtime everything's new and growing, and the birds are getting into breeding mode and that type of thing, and all the mammals are coming out from the winter hideaways and that type of thing, and the insects are starting to fly. So that's a lovely time. Then you go into summer with the butterflies, the dragonflies, the insects and the flowers in bloom. Going into autumn, where we've just gone through, the seasons are changing into the orange, the reds, the yellows. The most probably evocative time of year for the artists, with the morning mists and the beautiful sunsets and the water, the dewdrops on the spider's webs, that type of thing. And now we're into winter, which seems very bleak, but that brings its own beauty, particularly if you're going to take a stroll around. Regarding wildlife, although a lot of wildlife leaves us, a lot comes in as well. Now we're quite well known for our pintail and brink geese. So pintail are very elegant ducks, and they live up to their name with a very long thin tail, and they're lovely, and they've already arrived, and we're already gaining numbers in brink geese as well. A little slow to start because, as you probably realise, until last weekend start to winter. November's been very, very mild and has been on in Europe as well. So a lot of the wildlife that would be pushed in because of the cold is taking its time to get here, but it will get here, that's for sure. We're already starting to get the Brent geese in. We've had a couple of nice rare ones, if you like, of herald-bellied Brents, which will get the twitches going a little bit.
I was going to ask you about the twitches. The part that most people see at this is when there's something going on and there are people both sides of the road with great big scopes and binoculars and cameras and all sorts, and it's never fails to amaze me. It's been a source of amusement to me for years. How do these people know that this bird is going to be there at a certain time? And does that bird wait around? I mean, is the bird got a thing about cameras and waits for people to turn up? Because a friend of mine travels down from Windsor quite regularly, if there's been a special bird seen about, and he'll come from Windsor. Well, Windsor, on a good run, takes you about an hour and a half. Now, if somebody spots that bird out on the reserve here somewhere and says, there's this particular bird, now, I imagine that they've got an information set up that they can notify, twitches or notify each other and say that this particular bird's been spotted here. But then he's got to travel an hour and a half to get here. Now, it occurs to me that bird might just not wait and might just go.
Well, firstly, I think birds are probably a bit like us, and they do have characters, because some are far more shy and elusive than others, and others would dance around in front of you and not be bothered about your camera going off or anything. So it's not to say that the bird's going to stick around just for you, and quite often that's the nature of the hobby, if you like, that you'll go and look for something and it may not be there at all, or you might go somewhere one day and the birds are everywhere and falling out of the trees and everything, which is fantastic. It's the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. Regarding how people get to know about all these things, yes, there's definitely a bit of a case of the bongo drums in the jungle going around. There's certain, with this day and age with media, people on Twitter, for example.
Most appropriate.
Yes, absolutely. And you've also got some fabulous websites. So you've got the Selzy blog, which is a blog headed up by a local group, which is very well known in the area and outside the area. You've got the SOS site, of course, SOS Birds. So there's lots of different ways people get to hear. And certainly only needs one or two people to put the word out, and all of a sudden
I used to firmly believe that they all lived in the bushes and they just jumped out when a particular bird was seen. Well, that's great, Roy. Thanks for the insight into what goes on in and around Pagham Harbour and Medmerry, and we mustn't forget the Medmerry side of it now, because it's a very important part.
Well, we think of it as one reserve now, so Pagham Harbour and Medmerry, that's it.
All one place.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope people pick up the phone and contact you about volunteering, because I can think of an awful lot of worse places to work.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you're going to put your time to good use, this is a great place to do it. And thanks once again for talking to us and inviting us down to have a chat. And I've no doubt at all that we'll be speaking in the not too distant future.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Roy.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
And that was Roy Newnham there, the Visitors Officer from the RSPB, or Pagham and Medmerry Nature Reserve as we know it locally.
The Weather Report.
And here's a look at the weather for the coming week. Monday will be dry, 7 degrees, and the winds dropping right down to about 12 miles an hour, coming round from the west-southwest, which they have been for the past few days. Tuesday's a 60% chance of rain, temperatures warming up to 11 degrees, and the wind blowing at about 16 miles an hour. Wednesday should be dry, 10 degrees, and winds coming round from the northwest at 15 miles an hour. Thursday's just the odd chance of a shower there, 10 degrees, and the wind at 9 miles an hour coming from north-northwest. Friday once again just a slight chance of a shower, but probably not. 12 degrees and the winds at 15 miles an hour from west-southwest. Saturday there's an increased chance of a shower or two, with 40% chance of rain. Temperatures at 10 degrees and the winds from the west-southwest at 20 miles an hour. Now Sunday, well, Sunday's going to be blustery. There's a 20% chance of rain, a mild 12 degrees, and the winds at 23 miles an hour from the west-southwest, so much the same as they've been coming from for the past few days. And that's a look at the weather for the coming week. As you may remember, last week we closed with an inspirational thought from Pastor Andy Stevens from the Windrush Church over at Bracklesham. And Andy's going to follow that up this week with What If?
Hello. Last week I spoke on the theme of There Must Be More. And this week sort of follows on from that. My theme for today is What If? What if there is more? What if God loves you beyond your imaginings? Think about it. What if the world was designed perfectly to show how much the designer loved you? What if the world today was looking at it all the wrong way round? What if everything was in the right place for good and for our enjoyment? What if the sun was placed in exactly the right position and distance from the earth? What if it was made exactly the right size? What if it was designed to give exactly the right amount of heat and light for mankind to exist and enjoy the earth? What if the moon is so well designed as to reflect the light of the sun, to give light on the earth at night? What if the stars were placed in the sky to help give light and show a far greater mystery? What if the earth was designed to spin at the correct speed as to give us the correct amount of day and the correct amount of night? What if the tilt and orbit of the earth relative to the sun was designed to produce summer and winter so perfectly that the earth can sustain life? What if the position of the sun, the orbit of the moon and the earth was so well designed that you can get a perfect eclipse of the sun as everything is lined up in absolute precision? What if there was a sign in the heavens showing a huge engagement ring? Job 38 verse 4 says, "Where were you when I, God, laid the foundations of the earth?" What if your body was so perfectly made that you can achieve all that you are designed to? What if your brain is wired for love and not for hate? What if your feet and legs are designed to keep you upright? What if your ears were designed to help you hear even the faintest of sounds, as well as keep your balance? What if your hands were designed to hold things very tightly and yet very delicately? What if your heart was designed to keep on going without tiring or any prompting? What if the whole body was designed to work in unity? Psalm 139 says, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made." What if you have a spirit? What if your spirit lives forever? What if God designed us? What if God is available to us? What if God is crying out with everything he created, "I love you, I love you, I love you"? What if the Bible is truly a love letter from God? What will you do about it? What if all of this is true?
And that's just about it for this week. It just leaves me to say thank you to our producer John Fletcher, to our researcher Jill Barnes, to Tracey and Mel from Local Life magazine, and to our guests who were Peter and Trudy Hynes, or Trudy and Peter Hynes, Roy Newnham, John Sambrook, and the pastor Andy Stevens. This is Keith Barnes saying thank you for joining us, and join us again next week. Bye for now.